The stars above Earth had always looked peaceful. Tonight they were about to bring war. Deep inside a mountain in Colorado, Colonel Jake Harrison stared at his computer screen. The numbers made no sense. His coffee grew cold as he checked the readings again and again. Something massive was coming toward Earth from deep space. Something that should not exist. Jake had worked at NORAD for 12 years. He had seen meteors, space junk, and broken satellites. He had never seen anything like this. The computer showed 500 objects moving together in perfect formation. They were huge. Each one was bigger than a city. Jake picked up his red phone. The call went straight to the Pentagon. "Sir, we have a problem," Jake said. His voice stayed calm, but his hands shook. "We have 500 unknown objects approaching our solar system. They will reach Earth in 72 hours. 3,000 miles away, President Lisa Martinez was having dinner with her family when her phone rang. She looked at the caller ID and sighed. Emergency calls always came at the worst times. "What, is it Carl?" she asked. Carl Brooks was her defense secretary. He only called her at home when something terrible was happening. "Madam President, you need to come to the White House right now. We have visitors coming and they are not friendly." Lisa kissed her husband and children goodbye. She did not know when she would see them again. In space, far beyond the moon, the Zephyrian fleet moved through the darkness. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest. Behind him, 499 other warships followed in perfect lines. Each ship carried enough weapons to destroy a planet. Kethvar had conquered 47 worlds for the Zephyrian Empire. Earth would be number 48. His scientists had studied the small blue planet for months. The humans were weak. They had no real weapons. Their fastest ships could barely reach their own moon. This would be easy. "Admiral," said his second in command, "we will reach the human system in 3 of their days." "Good," Kethvar replied. "Prepare the standard surrender message. Tell them they have 1 day to give up, or we will kill them all." Back on Earth, President Martinez sat in the Situation Room deep under the White House. Around the table sat her most trusted advisors. General Paul Johnson spread papers across the table. Dr. Helen Price pulled up images on the big screen. Everyone looked worried. "How many ships?" Martinez asked. 500, Madam President," said General Johnson. "Each one is 3 miles long. We have never seen technology like this." Dr. Price pointed at the screen. "Our best guess is that they come from outside our galaxy. The energy readings are incredible. One of those ships has more power than our entire electrical grid." "What do they want?" Martinez asked. "We think they want to take over Earth," said Carl Brooks. "This looks like an invasion fleet." Martinez closed her eyes and thought. She was the leader of the free world. But what could Earth do against 500 alien warships? Their best fighter jets would be like throwing rocks at a tank. "Do we have any options?" she asked. General Johnson cleared his throat. "We have been working on some new projects, secret projects. Maybe it is time to use them." At that same moment, Captain Amy Rodriguez was getting ready for bed when her phone rang. She was tired after a long day of training, but the voice on the phone made her wide awake. "Captain Rodriguez, report to base immediately. We have a mission." Amy drove through the night to the secret airfield in Nevada. She had been chosen to command Earth's most advanced spacecraft, the UES Defiance. It was still experimental, but it was the fastest thing humans had ever built. Her crew was already waiting. Lieutenant Ben Clark was her pilot. He was young, but fearless. Sergeant Maria Lopez was her engineer. She could fix anything that broke. "What is the mission?" Amy asked. Colonel Sam Peters handed her a sealed envelope. "You are going to meet our visitors before they reach Earth. Someone needs to get a close look at what we are dealing with." Amy opened the envelope and read the orders. Her face went pale. 500 ships, she whispered. 500, Peters confirmed, and they are not coming here to be friends. The next morning, news reports around the world began talking about unusual activity in space. Governments tried to keep it secret, but too many people had seen something. Telescopes around the world were pointing at the same spot in space. Amateur astronomers posted pictures on the internet. The pictures showed lights in the darkness where no lights should be. In his small apartment in Tokyo, Dr. Kevin Hayes looked at the images on his computer. He was a physicist who studied space. He knew these lights were not natural. Something was coming toward Earth, and it was big. In London, Rebecca Stone was having the same thoughts. She worked for the European Space Agency. The data from their satellites showed energy readings that broke all the rules of physics. Whatever was out there was using technology that humans did not understand. Around the world, people began to worry. Social media filled with questions and fear. Were aliens real? Were they coming to Earth? Why now? President Martinez appeared on television that evening. She tried to sound calm and confident. "My fellow Americans and citizens of the world," she began. "We have detected unusual activity in space. We are monitoring the situation closely. We want everyone to remain calm while we gather more information." But Martinez was not calm. In the Situation Room, her advisors were working around the clock. They were preparing for something that no human leader had ever faced before. First, contact with an alien race, and it looked like those aliens wanted to destroy Earth. Admiral Kethavar watched Earth grow larger on his screens. The small blue planet looked so peaceful. Soon it would belong to the Zephyrian Empire, just like all the others. The humans would surrender quickly once they saw the size of his fleet. They always did. He had no idea that the humans were already preparing a surprise that would shock the entire galaxy. The message came from space at exactly 9:17 in the morning, Earth time. Every radio telescope, every satellite, and every communication dish on the planet received it at the same moment. The voice was cold and mechanical, translated by alien computers into perfect English. Humans of Earth. "I am Admiral Kethavar of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been chosen for conquest. You have 24 of your hours to surrender completely. 10% of your population may live as slaves. The rest will be eliminated. Your resources will serve the Empire. Resistance is pointless. This is your only warning." The message repeated in every language on Earth. Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, Hindi, Russian. The same cold words in every tongue: surrender or die. President Martinez sat in the Situation Room and listened to the message 3 times. Around her, generals and advisors argued about what to do. Some wanted to try talking to the aliens. Others wanted to fight. All of them looked scared. "Madam President," said General Johnson, "we need to respond. The whole world is watching." Martinez nodded slowly. "Get me Colonel Peters." Colonel Sam Peters was not like other military officers. He was quiet and calm, even when everything was falling apart. He had been working on secret projects for 10 years, projects that most people in the government did not know about. "Colonel Peters," Martinez said when he arrived, "I need you to send a message to these aliens, but not the message they expect." Peters smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. "I understand, Madam President. We have been preparing for this day." Captain Amy Rodriguez was already in space when the alien message arrived. Her ship, the UES Defiance, was moving toward the edge of the solar system. Her crew listened to the alien ultimatum in silence. "Captain," said Lieutenant Ben Clark, "what do we do now?" Amy looked at the sealed orders Colonel Peters had given her. She opened them and read carefully. Her eyes went wide. "We do exactly what these orders say," she replied. "And we trust that our leaders know what they are doing." Sergeant Maria Lopez checked her instruments. "Captain, I am reading some very strange energy signatures coming from Earth. Something big is happening down there." Amy nodded. "I know. Get ready to record everything we see." On Earth, Dr. Rebecca Stone was working in a laboratory that did not officially exist. It was buried deep underground in a mountain in Wyoming. For 15 years, she and her team had been working on a project that would change everything. Today, they were finally going to use it. "Dr. Stone," said her assistant, Dr. Kevin Hayes, "all systems are ready. We can begin whenever you give the order." Rebecca looked at the massive machine that filled the entire laboratory. It had cost $50 billion and taken the smartest people on Earth to build. The government had told everyone that the money was spent on roads and bridges. That was a lie. Begin the sequence, Rebecca said. Meanwhile, Admiral Kethvar was confident that the humans would surrender quickly. Every species did when they saw the size of his fleet. Humans were no different. They were weak and primitive. They would beg for mercy soon. Admiral, said his communications officer, we are receiving a response from the humans. Put it on the main screen, Kethvar ordered. The image that appeared showed a human military officer standing in what looked like a normal briefing room. Behind him were screens showing star charts and technical information. The man looked completely calm. I am Colonel Sam Peters of the Earth Defense Force, the human said. We have received your message, Admiral Kethvar. We appreciate your generous offer, but we must respectfully decline. Several Zephyrian officers laughed. The human was either very brave or very stupid. Peters continued speaking. We understand that your fleet has traveled a long way to reach our system. Our sensors have been tracking your approach for several weeks. We have used that time to make some preparations of our own. Kethvar stopped laughing. How had primitive humans detected his fleet from so far away? Their technology was supposed to be centuries behind Zephyrian science. We want you to know, Peters said, that Earth takes threats against our planet very seriously. We have developed some new defensive measures. We thought you might like to see a demonstration. The image changed to show a view of space. In the darkness, lights began to appear, not near Earth but far away, very far away. Lieutenant Tom Wright, the communications officer on Captain Rodriguez's ship, was monitoring all frequencies when something impossible happened. He heard human voices coming from places where no humans should be. Captain, he said, his voice shaking, I am picking up transmissions from human ships, but they are not in our solar system. That is impossible, Amy said. All our ships are accounted for. Captain, I am reading human ships at Kepler 442b. That is 1200 light years from Earth. Amy stared at her instruments. The readings were clear. Human ships had somehow traveled instantly across the galaxy. On the Zephyrian flagship, chaos was breaking out. Sensor operators were reporting the impossible. Human ships were appearing at Zephyrian worlds throughout the galaxy. Not one or two ships, but entire fleets. Admiral, reported his chief sensor officer. We have confirmed human vessels at 17 of our colonies. They appeared without warning. Our ships there report that the humans arrived within the last few hours. Kethvar felt something he had not experienced in centuries of conquest. Fear. How is this possible? He demanded. It took us months to travel here through hyperspace. How did they get to our world so quickly? The answer came in another transmission from Colonel Peters. Admiral Kethvar, Peters said, still looking perfectly calm. You may be wondering how our ships reached your world so quickly. The answer is simple. While you were traveling here the slow way, we were taking a shortcut. On the screen behind, Peters' images appeared showing human ships at Zephyrian colonies, at mining stations, at military bases, everywhere the Empire thought was safe. You see, Admiral, we solved a little problem with faster-than-light travel some time ago. Instant travel, to be precise. While you were spending months getting here, we were visiting your neighborhood. Peters leaned forward slightly. For the first time, his calm expression showed something else. Something dangerous. So let me make something very clear, Admiral. You are not trapped in our solar system with us. We are not trapped anywhere. Your entire empire is now trapped in this galaxy with us. Every world you control, every ship you command, every base you have built, all of it is now within immediate reach of Earth forces. The transmission ended with one final message. You wanted to give us 24 hours to surrender, Admiral. We are giving you 12 hours to leave our system. All of your ships, all of your people, gone. Or we will show you what happens when Earth stops being polite. The screen went dark. Admiral Kethvar stared at the empty display, finally understanding the terrible truth. The humans had not been cowering in fear. They had been preparing for war. And somehow, impossibly, they had already won. Governor Velthak was having his morning meal when the alarm started screaming. His palace on Kepler 442b had been peaceful for 300 years. Nothing ever happened on the mining colony. Workers dug minerals from the ground, ships carried them away, and life continued quietly. Today was different. "Governor!" shouted his aide, running into the dining hall. "Ships! Unknown ships in orbit!" Velthak dropped his cup. Purple liquid splashed across the white floor. "What ships? We were not expecting any deliveries." "Sir, they are not our ships. They are human ships." The word human made Velthak's blood run cold. Humans lived on the other side of the galaxy. It was impossible for them to be here. "Show me," he ordered. The viewing screen in his office displayed 3 strange vessels hanging in space above his world. They were smaller than Zephyrian warships, but they moved with deadly grace. Their design was completely alien to anything in the Empire's database. "Sir," said his communications officer, "they are sending a message." The screen changed to show a human female in a blue uniform. She had short dark hair and calm eyes. Behind her, other humans worked at control stations. "Governor Velthak," the human said, "I am Captain Linda Foster of the UES Resolution. We have come to discuss the current diplomatic situation between Earth and your empire." Velthak stared at the screen. How did you get here so quickly? The nearest human world is over 1,000 light-years away." Captain Foster smiled. It was not a threatening smile, but somehow it made Velthak more afraid. "We left Earth 6 hours ago, Governor. We thought you might like to know that." 6 hours. It had taken the fastest Zephyrian ships 3 months to make the same journey. At the same time, similar scenes were playing out across 17 other Zephyrian worlds. On the factory world of Zerion Prime, Captain Nick Adams introduced himself to the planetary administrator. On the military base at Sector 7, Captain Mary Wilson's ship appeared without warning above the startled garrison. Every human captain delivered the same message. They had traveled instantly from Earth. They were here to talk about the invasion fleet threatening humanity's homeworld. Back on the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Kethvar was receiving reports that made no sense. His communications systems were overloaded with messages from his scattered governors and commanders, all of them saying the same impossible thing: human ships everywhere. Ships that had somehow crossed the galaxy in hours. "Admiral," said Commander Thekmal, his chief intelligence officer, "I am reviewing our data on human technology. Something is very wrong with our analysis." "What do you mean?" Kethvar demanded. "Sir, we observed the humans for months. Their fastest ships could barely reach their own moon. They used chemical rockets, primitive nuclear power. Everything we saw suggested they were centuries behind us." Kethvar felt his confidence cracking. "Then how are they at our worlds?" "Sir, I think we were seeing exactly what they wanted us to see." On Earth, Dr. Rebecca Stone stood in her secret laboratory and watched data streams flowing across dozens of monitors. Her machine was working perfectly. The quantum tunnel generators were stable. The instant travel network was functioning exactly as designed. "Dr. Stone," said Dr. Kevin Hayes, "all our ships have reached their destinations. The demonstration is complete." Rebecca nodded. 15 years of work had led to this moment. While the world thought humanity was struggling to reach Mars, her team had solved the greatest puzzle in physics. They had learned to fold space itself, to step from one star to another in the blink of an eye. "How many people know about this project?" she asked. "Less than 200 worldwide," Kevin replied. "Presidents, a few generals, our research teams, that's all." "And the Zephyrians suspected nothing?" "Nothing. They watched our public space program and thought that was everything we had. They never imagined we might have secret projects." Captain Amy Rodriguez was still racing toward the edge of the solar system when she received new orders. Her mission had changed. Instead of just observing the alien fleet, she was now Earth's primary spokesperson. "Lieutenant Clark," she said to her pilot, "take us closer to their flagship. We need to have a conversation with Admiral Kethvar." "How close, Captain?" Amy looked at her orders again. "Close enough to make them nervous." The UES Defiance moved through space like a hunting shark. It was much smaller than the alien warships, but it moved with confidence, as if it belonged there. Admiral Kethvar watched the small human ship approach. Its design was completely different from anything his scientists had predicted. It was sleek and fast, built for purposes he could not understand. "Admiral," said his weapons officer, "should we destroy it?" Kethvar hesitated. 6 hours ago, he would have said yes immediately. Now he was not sure. If humans could appear instantly at any Zephyrian world, what else could they do? Captain Rodriguez opened a communication channel to the alien flagship. "Admiral Kethvar," she said, "I am Captain Amy Rodriguez. I represent Earth in this matter. We need to talk." "You have nothing to say that interests me, human," Kethvar replied. But his voice lacked its earlier confidence. "I think I do," Amy said calmly. "You see, Admiral, you made a mistake. You assumed that what you could see was all that existed. You thought human technology was primitive because that's what we let you see. Your tricks will not save you," Kethvar said. "I have 500 warships." "Yes, you do," Amy agreed. "But Admiral, where are your ships here threatening Earth? And where are our ships everywhere else? Every world you control, every base you've built, every place you thought was safe." She paused to let that sink in. "You came here with enough firepower to destroy Earth. But we can destroy your entire empire while you're sitting here talking to me. Do you understand the problem with your strategy?" Kethvar did understand. For the first time in his long military career, he faced an enemy that could strike back in ways he had never imagined. His invasion fleet was powerful, but it was concentrated in one place. The humans had somehow scattered their forces across the galaxy instantly. "What do you want?" he asked finally. "We want you to leave our solar system," Amy said simply. "All of you, right now. Go home, Admiral. Tell your Emperor that Earth is not as helpless as you thought." "And if we refuse?" Amy's expression did not change, but something cold entered her voice. "Then, Admiral, you will discover that humans have been preparing for this day for a very long time, and you will learn that our biggest weapon was never technology. It was patience. We let you think you were hunting us, while we were really hunting you." The communication ended. Admiral Kethvar stared at the screen, finally understanding that his invasion fleet was not the hunter, they were the prey. Admiral Kethvar called an emergency meeting with his top officers. The command room of the Eternal Conquest had never been so quiet. 50 of the Empire's best military minds sat around the table, and none of them had answers. "How did this happen?" Kethvar asked his intelligence chief. "Commander Thekmol, explain to me how we missed something this important." Thekmol looked at the datapad in his hands. His confidence was gone. "Admiral, we watched the humans for 8 months. Every ship they launched, every communication they sent, every piece of technology they used. Everything pointed to a primitive civilization. Then how are their ships at our colonies? Sir, I believe they deliberately showed us only what they wanted us to see. While we watched them struggle to reach their moon with chemical rockets, they were building something completely different in secret." Captain Zethkar, the fleet's chief strategist, spoke up. "Admiral, I have been studying human military history. They have done this before. During their Second World War, they convinced their enemies that they were going to attack in one place, then attacked somewhere else entirely. You are saying they tricked us?" "Yes, sir. But not just a simple trick. They built a fake space program to hide their real space program. For how long, we don't know. On Earth, the truth was known to very few people. In a secure room beneath the Pentagon, General Patricia Wells was explaining the deception to President Martinez. Madam President, the public space program was always a cover story. When NASA was launching rockets to Mars, Dr. Alex Turner's team was already testing faster-than-light travel. President Martinez shook her head in amazement. "How long have we had this technology?" 15 years, Madam President. We first achieved instant travel in 2010. We have been building ships and bases in secret ever since. Why didn't anyone tell me sooner?" General Wells looked uncomfortable. "Madam President, only 5 people in each administration were ever told. The program was so secret that we couldn't risk any leaks. If other countries had learned about it, or if the information had reached hostile aliens, It could have started wars. Martinez understood. The most powerful weapon humanity had ever developed was secrecy itself. Meanwhile, Captain Amy Rodriguez was still talking to Admiral Kethvar. Her small ship hung in space near the massive alien fleet, but she showed no fear. "Admiral," she said, "I want to show you something that might help you understand your situation better." "What?" Kethvar asked. Amy nodded to her communications officer, Lieutenant Tom Wright. He activated a special transmission system that had been built into the UES Defiance. "We are going to show you a live view from 18 different Zephyrian worlds," Amy said. The main screen in the alien flagship split into multiple images. Each one showed a different planet or space station. At every location, human ships waited in orbit. The crews were not attacking, not threatening, just watching. "These are all your worlds, Admiral," Amy explained. "Your mining colonies, your military bases, your factory planets. Notice anything interesting?" Kethvar stared at the images. Every strategic location in the Zephyrian Empire was now under human observation. "How many ships do you have?" he asked quietly. "Enough," Amy replied. "But that's not the important question, Admiral. The important question is, how did we get them there so fast?" Dr. Jennifer Kim, Earth's chief xenobiology expert, had been studying Zephyrian psychology since first contact. She sat in a briefing room with other scientists, analyzing every word the aliens had spoken. "The key to understanding them," she explained to her team, "is that their entire culture is built on technological superiority. For 3,000 years they have conquered other species because they had better weapons and faster ships. And now?" asked Dr. Paul Martinez, her assistant. "Now they have encountered something they have never seen before, a species that appears primitive but possesses technology they cannot understand. It breaks their fundamental worldview." Back on the Zephyrian flagship, Emperor Zek Thorin himself was calling Admiral Kethvar. The Emperor rarely spoke directly to field commanders, but desperate times called for unusual measures. "Admiral," came the Emperor's voice across subspace, "I have been receiving disturbing reports from our colonies." "Yes, Your Imperial Majesty. The humans have demonstrated some unexpected capabilities." "Unexpected?" The Emperor's voice rose in anger. "Human warships appearing instantly across the galaxy is more than unexpected, Admiral. It is impossible according to everything our scientists know about physics." Kethvar swallowed hard. "Your Majesty, I believe our scientists may have been wrong about human technology, obviously. The question now is, what else have they been wrong about?" That question hung in the air like a dark cloud. If humans could hide such advanced space travel technology, what other secrets might they have? On Earth, Dr. Rebecca Stone was monitoring the quantum tunnel network from her hidden laboratory. Every human ship in Zephyrian space was connected to her system. With the push of a button, she could bring them all home instantly, or send reinforcements to any location in the galaxy. "Dr. Stone," said her assistant, "we are receiving requests from 17 different human captains. They want permission to begin Phase 2 of the demonstration." Rebecca looked at the authorization codes from the Pentagon. Phase 2 had been planned for months, but she had hoped they would never need to use it. "Are we really going to show them the weapon systems?" she asked. "If they don't surrender soon, yes. The President has authorized full disclosure if necessary." Back in space, Captain Rodriguez was delivering her final message to Admiral Kethvar. "Admiral, I want you to understand something very important. What you have seen so far is just our transportation system. We wanted you to know that we can reach any point in your empire instantly." "And?" Kethvar asked, though he dreaded the answer. "And now we want you to know what we can do when we get there." Amy gave a signal to Lieutenant Wright. He sent a coded message through the quantum network. Within seconds, every human ship at every Zephyrian world received the same order. "Admiral," Amy said calmly, "please direct your attention to the Zerian system." On the main screen, one of the images showed a human ship near a Zephyrian factory world. As they watched, the ship began to change. Panels opened along its hull. Weapon ports extended. Energy readings spiked to levels that made the Zephyrian sensors scream warnings. "That ship," Amy explained, is now capable of destroying the entire Zarian industrial complex in approximately 30 seconds. And Admiral, we have ships like that at every one of your important worlds. Kethvar felt the last of his confidence drain away. The humans had not just achieved instant travel, they had weaponized it. They could appear anywhere in the galaxy and strike before anyone could respond. What do you want? He asked again, but this time his voice was barely a whisper. We want you to go home, Admiral. Take your fleet and leave our solar system. Tell your Emperor that Earth is off limits. Forever. And if we don't? Amy's expression remained calm, but her words carried the weight of absolute certainty. Then, Admiral, your empire ends today. The transmission closed, leaving Kethvar alone with the terrible knowledge that humanity had been preparing for this moment for years. While the Zephyrians had been building bigger fleets, humans had been building a better trap, and now the trap was closing. Admiral Kethvar stood alone on the bridge of his flagship. Around him, his officers waited for orders. For the first time in 300 years of conquest, he did not know what to do. His fleet could destroy Earth. 500 warships carried enough firepower to burn every city on the planet. But if he gave that order, 18 human ships would destroy the heart of the Zephyrian Empire in return. Every factory world, every military base, every important colony would be gone in minutes. Admiral, said his communications officer, Emperor Zekthoran is calling again. Kethvar closed his eyes. He did not want to have this conversation, but he had no choice. The Emperor's image appeared on the main screen. His face was dark with anger. Admiral, explain to me why human ships are still sitting over our worlds. Why have you not destroyed them? Your Majesty, Kethvar said carefully, the situation is more complicated than we first believed. How complicated can it be? You have 500 ships, they have 18. Your Majesty, those 18 ships can destroy our most important worlds before we can stop them, and the humans have demonstrated that they can send more ships instantly to any location. The Emperor was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different, uncertain. Are you telling me that these humans have defeated the Zephyrian Empire? Your Majesty, I am telling you that they have made conquest impossible. If we attack Earth, we lose everything else. On Earth, President Martinez was meeting with world leaders through secure video links. The President of China, the Prime Minister of India, the Chancellor of Germany, all of them were asking the same questions. Lisa, said the British Prime Minister, how long have you Americans had this technology? We have all had it, Martinez replied. This was never just an American project. Scientists from every major nation worked on it. The secret was shared by all of us. Then why didn't we know? Secretary of State Michelle Davis answered that question. Because the fewer people who knew, the safer the secret was. We built a global defense system in absolute secrecy. Today, that secrecy saved our world. Meanwhile, Captain Amy Rodriguez was preparing for the most important conversation of her life. She had received new orders from Earth. President Martinez herself had authorized the final offer to the Zephyrian Empire. Lieutenant Wright, Amy said to her communications officer, open a channel to the Emperor directly. Not just the Admiral. I want to speak to their highest leader. Yes, Captain. The communication took several minutes to establish. When Emperor Zekthoran's image finally appeared, Amy could see the stress on his alien features. This was not a confident ruler anymore. This was someone facing the possible end of his empire. I am Captain Amy Rodriguez, she began. I speak for Earth and all humanity in this matter. What do you want, human? The Emperor asked. I want to prevent a war that will destroy both of our civilizations, Amy replied simply. The Emperor laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think you can destroy us? You have 18 ships. Emperor Zekthoran, those 18 ships are just the beginning. We can have 1,000 ships at your worlds in 1 hour, 10,000 in a day. There is no limit to how many forces we can move instantly across the galaxy. Amy paused to let that sink in. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to destroy your empire. We just want you to leave us alone. And why should I believe you? Because if we wanted to destroy you, we would have done it already. We could have attacked your worlds without warning. Instead, we are talking to you. Dr. Susan Parker, Earth's new Director of Galactic Affairs, was listening to the conversation from her office in Washington. She had been chosen to handle humanity's first steps into galactic politics. The conversation between Captain Rodriguez and the Emperor would determine how that relationship began. Emperor Zek Thoron was thinking hard. His military advisors had already told him the truth. Earth's technology made traditional warfare impossible. The humans could strike anywhere instantly while his forces were concentrated in one star system. "What are you offering?" he asked finally. "Peace," Amy said. "Your fleet leaves our solar system immediately. In return, we guarantee that no human ships will attack Zephyrian worlds." "That is all?" "No. There is more. We are offering something that has never existed before. A partnership between equals." The Emperor leaned forward. "Explain." "Your empire is built on conquest. You take what you want from weaker species, but humans are not weaker. We are different. We can offer you things you cannot take by force." Captain Frank Miller, who was leading the human diplomatic mission at the Zephyrian capital world, sent additional information to support Amy's offer. "Emperor," Amy continued, "we are willing to share some of our technology. Not our weapons, but other things. Medical advances, agricultural improvements, scientific discoveries. Trade agreements that benefit both sides. Why would you do this? Because war is expensive and stupid. Peace is profitable and smart. We would rather be your trading partners than your enemies." The Emperor was quiet for a long time. His entire worldview was cracking. For 3,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire had grown through conquest. The idea of partnership with equals was completely foreign. "And if I refuse?" he asked. Amy's voice remained calm, but her words were clear. "Then your empire ends today and ours begins tomorrow. The choice is yours, Emperor." Admiral Kethvar was watching the conversation from his flagship. He understood military mathematics better than anyone. The humans had won without firing a one shot. They had demonstrated power that made resistance pointless. "Admiral," said his second-in-command quietly, "what are your orders?" Kethvar looked at his fleet, then at the small human ship floating nearby. That tiny vessel represented a species that had outthought, outplanned, and outmaneuvered the greatest military force in the galaxy. "Prepare the fleet for withdrawal," he said finally. "Sir, you heard me. All ships prepare to leave this system. We are going home." Emperor Zek Thoron made his decision. "Captain Rodriguez," he said, "I accept your offer. The Zephyrian fleet will withdraw from your system immediately. We will discuss this partnership you propose." Amy nodded. "Thank you, Emperor. I think this is the beginning of something much better than war." As the massive Zephyrian fleet began to move away from Earth, people around the world watched in amazement. The alien ships that had threatened their planet were leaving peacefully. President Martinez appeared on television that evening. "My fellow citizens of Earth," she began, "today humanity took its first step into a larger galaxy. We have made contact with an alien civilization, and through patience and preparation, we have secured peace." She did not mention the secret technology or the hidden fleets. Those secrets would remain hidden for a while longer. "We have learned that we are not alone in the universe, but we have also learned that we are not helpless. Earth will take its place among the stars as an equal, not as a victim." Dr. Rebecca Stone watched the president's speech from her hidden laboratory. The quantum tunnel network was still active, still connecting human ships across the galaxy. The Zephyrians were leaving, but other alien civilizations were already sending messages to Earth. Humanity's secret was out. The galaxy had a new power to deal with. Captain Amy Rodriguez, now promoted to admiral, stood on the bridge of her ship and watched the last Zephyrian warship disappear into hyperspace. Earth had avoided invasion not by building stronger defenses, but by proving that distance was no longer a protection for anyone. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place.